Hey YouTube, it's Holly. I am back with car video today, and I want to talk about self-education, self-educating ourselves, because I feel like this is so important. And I think it's great that we have school. I do. I think it's great that we have so many different options to choose from. But I do have my opinions on the school system in general, not just grade school, not just going up K through 12, or pre-K through 12 or whatever, but I have my opinions on university, on college in general. So I'd like to share a little bit of that. And I just want to point out first and foremost that education is completely different for every individual. It's all completely different, and it's completely up to the individual. And you should do whatever you feel called to do and whatever you truly want to do. But with that being said, you should do just that, what you truly want to do. So I'll start with my personal experience. When I was in high school, I was in 12th grade, so I was almost finished. I was just a couple months into my first semester of my senior year. And I was being bullied a lot at school, and I knew what I wanted to do for my career. I knew that I wanted to be a massage therapist. So I knew that I wanted to go to vocational school for professional massage therapy. So I ended up just simply dropping out of high school because I was so upset. It was just awful. And I felt like at that point, I was also in a position where I felt like I had learned everything I needed to know up to that point. So I went ahead and I just got my GED. So from the day that I dropped out to the day I was holding my GED in my hand was only about 3 weeks. Didn't take me very long at all. So after I got my GED, I immediately went to massage school. So I was finished with massage therapy school before I would have graduated high school, because at the time it only took me about 5 months. The classes were about 4.5 months. Then I had an internship, and then it took me a little bit longer after that, as far as like, you know, setting up my test, taking my test, finishing out the internship and all that. So long story short, that was what I wanted to do. I never went back to school after that, except for online programs. I recently did complete an online program for my group fitness instructor certification, which I'm still working on setting up my test for that. I don't know whether or not that's ultimately going to materialize, because they've given me such a hard time with it. But I did take the program. I also have studied some other fitness programs as well. I've kind of done like, I've taken a whole bunch of classes that have given me like certificates. And continuing education wise, I have to do 12 hours every 2 years. So of course I build on that and keep going to keep my massage therapy license active. And that's just what you have to do. So you can do so many different things. I mean, you can do energy healing, you can do basically anything that's in the spiritual or health and wellness field. You can get continuing education credits for that and build on your career. And that's what I really like about what I do, is I can continue to build on it without going back to school and without doing anything that super requires a big commitment of me, or requires a big commitment of my time and energy. So I just think that it's really cool to be able to be in this position where I'm able to just kind of live life on my own terms. And starting out with my career, I did work for other companies for the first several years, and then after that I was just home free. I mean, after that it was just like, wow, that's it, you know, this is my career and my life, and I get to do what I want to do, and there's just so much freedom. So I'm ultimately just so thankful for the freedom that I've been given, because it's just, I mean, it really is tremendous. And so I'm kind of rambling on, but my main point is that was my experience as far as my education was considered. Now, I also have been insulted many, many times, and still to this day even, people will insult me and they'll say things like, so why don't you go back to school? Is this really all that you're gonna do with your life? That this is what you want to be? Like, you just want to do massage for the rest of your life? And honestly, yes, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And so I feel like there's a big misconception in our society today, and even more so in the past 10 to 15 years, more so in the past 5 years, more so in the past 2 or 3 years, is it's like there's this huge stigma around you know, not going to a university or not going to college and getting a 4-year degree. I feel like there's this huge misconception that you need a 4-year degree to get somewhere in life, or that you need some kind of crazy, you know, this or that, or a doctorate. And so the truth of the matter is, I know a lot of people that have actually made great successes of themselves and their lives out of literally having nothing but a high school diploma or a GED. And sometimes not even that. Sometimes these are high school dropouts. Now, yes, those are few and far between, but I think what we have to understand ultimately is that we are living in a world that there is so much access at our fingertips, and there's so much that you can teach yourself. You can start your own business. You can do so many things without ever having to step foot in a college or a university, or even a trade school for that matter. And I've always told people, I always recommend, when you're thinking about what you're gonna want to do with your life, career-wise, I always first and foremost recommend that people go for something like a trade, or go to trade school, especially if they're not 100% sure what they want to do. Because one of the things that I hate seeing is people automatically hauling off to a university for 4 to 6 years, having no idea what they want to do. And then all of a sudden they come out from that hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt from student loans, etc. And suddenly they decide, oh, actually, I want to be a dental assistant. Or actually, I want to be a physical therapist, you know? Or actually, there are just so many things. There are so many things. So, it depends on what you want out of life. Now, obviously, there are some professions in which you are going to want to, you know, if you really want to do something that requires a large degree, then go for it. If that's your true passion in life, to be an attorney, obviously you have to have a lot of schooling for that, or else no one will hire you, or else you're not accepted legally to do that kind of work. So we've just reached a time in society in which it's like everyone's requiring so much of us. The world is requiring so much of us. And, you know, what I say to that is, like, why not pull back a little? Why not do what you want to do in life? And if you really, really, truly want to be a doctor, same thing. Go for it. Things like teaching, for example. Teaching requires 4-year degree. And I will be completely honest, I think a lot of the professions these days that require a lot of schooling, like years worth of college, I don't think they should. I'll be honest, I think there are a lot of professions out there that should not require near the amount of schooling that they do. I think it's society's way of making things more difficult and more unattainable for a lot of people. And this is just my opinion. I realize this is controversial, but I'm hugely not a fan of university. And this is just my personal take on it. I think university is a complete ripoff. I think it's more of a social experience than anything, but it's extremely expensive. And the way I see it is, like, why would you want to put your family, unless they're extremely wealthy, why would you want to put your family through, you know, and yourself through such incredible amount of debt and stress? And it just takes so much to go through university. And I think community college in comparison is a much better option, in my opinion. I think it's less expensive, it's more versatile, and I feel like it gives people a little bit more freedom. And I feel like people that are in a university are just very tied down. I've had family members that have attended university, and it's just almost kind of like, it's just very, very restricting, if that makes sense. So, and that's just my opinion on it. But to make a long story short, you know, sometimes people will come to me and they'll ask me, like, what do you think I should do? You know, or I'm in high school, I have no idea what I want to do. I'm in college, I have no idea what I want to do. And what I say to those people is, you know, don't haul yourself off to university not knowing what you want to do. Don't haul yourself off to college not knowing what you want to do. If you get out of high school and you don't know what you want to do, wait. Give it time. Don't run off and get peer pressure just because everyone is telling you this is what you need to do. You need to do this, you need to do that. No. Give yourself time. You got to give yourself time. Because, you know, when you're 18 or 19 years old, you're still a kid. Honestly, you might not know. And the fact that I knew what I wanted to do at the age of 17, that's actually very rare. That's actually not very common at all. I just knew. I had a light bulb moment and I knew. And I'm still doing that to this day. That's just me, and that's just what I'm doing. So yeah, long story short, that's most of what I have to say. And recently, I had someone tell me something to the effect of, I'm homeschooling my son, my older son. He is almost 6 years old. He's in kindergarten. And so we do a homeschool curriculum. It's a Christian homeschool curriculum. It's called Becca. And it's a pretty well-known, pretty reputable curriculum that was recommended to me by a friend who homeschools all 4 of her children. And so this person said to me, like, well, I don't think you really have the qualifications to teach your son, or to homeschool your son, because, well, you don't have a 4-year degree. It takes a 4-year degree to be a good teacher. To be a teacher, you have to have a 4-year college degree. And it's like, really? Okay, yeah, I get that. In order to be a teacher, yes, you technically cannot be hired unless you have a 4-year degree. It's just the law has put these stipulations upon us. But if you think back to like the way we originally lived, our ancestors, and hundreds of years ago, thousands of years ago, you know, and obviously back then we didn't have the kind of education that we have now. And I am tremendously thankful for our education and that we have access to that. But hundreds of years ago, even decades ago, even 100 years ago, education was so much different. And it just so happened to this day and age that, you know, every little thing takes this or takes that. And it's like you go to do something and they're like, oh, well, do you have such and such certification? Oh, do you have this certificate? Do you have that? Because I can't do this if you don't have that. And honestly, I know I'm kind of ranting here, but it's really frustrating. And it's really like, you can't expect people to have all these little things. And I feel like society places our value so much on how many certificates are hanging on your wall, you know? How many framed up certificates are at your desk? Like, that's how they want to gauge your worth. And I'm here to tell you that we were not created that way. And I don't believe that that's the way that our society should operate. I will say that's not the way that I operate. And ultimately, I'm very proud of my life. I'm very proud of how far I've come and everything I've accomplished. And honestly, I don't care what anyone thinks. I don't care if people want to act like complete idiots over this education thing. So, and education is so much more than just quite simply a degree. It's so much more than academic. Education happens to be, a lot of it is emotional, it's spiritual, it's intellectual. And you're not going to get that from a university or from a college. They're not going to teach you how to be a spiritual, decent, good human being. And they're not going to teach you a lot of the life skills, the intuitive skills that you need to really actually thrive in life. And academic success can be a really great thing. But at the end of the day, it's not all that's there. So I just kind of wanted to put this out there and just kind of talk about how, you know, sharing a different opinion, a different perspective. And I'm fully aware I have a very different perspective on the world than most people. I have a very different perspective on life. I am proud of that. I don't feel bad about the way I think. I do get insulted a lot because my views are not mainstream. But I refuse to live my life the way that a lot of these blind people, these sheep, expect me to live my life. And it's very upsetting when you just want to be a certain way and you just want to live your own life and lead your own life, and other people try to tell you that, oh, you shouldn't do that, you should do this. Actually, why are you so weird? Why can't you just be normal? You know, why can't you just be a normal person? Well, I mean, what do you really say? I don't want to be normal. I don't want to be like everybody else. But I also know over the years that I have been awakened is that there are actually a lot of people out there in the world that are like me. And they may be a little bit harder to find sometimes because a lot of times they're more concentrated in certain areas and, you know, bigger cities and things of that nature for the most part. But I do know that there are a lot of other people out there like me and even further, way further awake than I am, way further out, way more weird, strange, whatever you want to call it. So it's not just me. I am not alone. And if you're like me, you are not alone. So chances are, if you're subscribed to my channel, you might be at least a little bit like me. So, you know, just know you're not alone if you share the same views. And I know that a lot of you out there do. So, and like I say, just to kind of like top this video off and cap it off, you know, I don't have anything against people if they legitimately want to go to a university or, you know, a college. Like, I'm not judging that if that's truly what a person wants to do. But what I am saying is that I feel like there's a whole lot of pressure this day and age with society, a whole crap ton of pressure on people to have more education, have more degrees, get this degree, get that. And I feel like if that's not truly what you want out of life, you shouldn't do that. I feel like if you get out of high school, you don't know what you want to do. You know, I feel like all these parents, they try to line their kids up, you know, oh, what school do you want to go to? Let's put you in this school. Let's apply for this school and go to or this school. And, you know, and I feel like, I just feel like if you don't know, that you should just wait. But at the very least, if you can't wait and you're going to go ahead and go to college anyway and you don't know what you want to do, I would just try to be vague about it. Try to be, you know, do something like liberal arts, something that's going to be wide spectrum that you can kind of like do a lot with, you know. I mean, I wouldn't go into like studying criminal justice or psychology when, you know, there's a possibility that you might end up doing something completely different with your life. Same goes for the medical field. Same goes for the practice of law. There are so many different things. And I feel like way more people than not tend to go to school for something and then never end up using it. Way more people than what it should be. I will say that. And I think that's a very avoidable thing. I think that when we do something like that, when we don't truly want that, we're not aligning with our purpose. We're not aligning with what is really supposed to happen in our lives and what is meant for us. And therefore, I feel like it actually takes from our life. That takes your time and your energy and eats up a part of your life when you do something like that that's not meant for you. So if I had gotten out of high school and said, okay, well, my dad wants me to go to school for this, and this is what my parents want to do, and, you know, I should be like everyone else and just go to university. So if I had done that, and I had gone off to university and gotten some 4-year degree, and who knows what, and then came out, I wouldn't have wanted to even use that degree. I wouldn't have even used it. So that's just me. So, you know, just taking into consideration that if you don't know what you want to do, it's okay. You may never know what you want to do. And that's a real thing. There are some people that never truly find out what they really want to do. And that's okay. There are some people that want to do multiple things, that don't pick one thing, that pick several different things and just kind of like put it all together. So, and that's kind of with me too. I mean, I don't just have a passion for massage therapy. I have a passion for fitness and for wellness and for natural health and healing and energy and all of these things. So anyways, but yeah, this video has been long enough, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut it off. And again, I'm not judging anyone. I'm just saying that our society has put us in a position where it's just, in my opinion, from the outside looking in, it looks like a very uncomfortable situation. So, alright guys, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.